Welcome traders. In this video, we're going to go over today's price action. We are currently looking at ES, and the time frame we are looking at is the 2000 tick chart. Now, the only other supportive indicator I use is the 21 EMA, and other than that, I solely rely on price action and trend lines to look for high probability setups. Now, if we zoom out and we look at the pre-market structure, you can see we have some bullish bias with a series of higher highs and higher lows. I always draw the support and the resistance, and these key levels definitely have a huge role later on when the market is trending. Now, I started off with this nice fitting spike in a channel pattern. As you can see, it geometrically fits good, aligns with the price action, and we have a decent amount of confirmations. Now, as long as the uptrend is in play, we are only looking for long opportunities. So as you can see, as the market opened, we started off with a small bearish correction. And although we are looking to go long, we have to respect the short and downtrends. And either if we have an attempt or we have a new low for them, then we can resume looking for long opportunities. So as you can see, as I have this downtrend drawn out, counting from this new low, we have a new low, first entry short that failed. We pushed up above EMA and we have a failed second entry short, right? This was the second attempt for bears to short the market and they failed. As you can see, it triggered lower than the previous candle as well as this one right here. And this was the first high probability setup of the day. Nice, easy setup. And as you can see, it even engulfed the previous candles. And we can draw the trend line like this, right? So we have this uptrend in play. This was my first setup of the day, quick and easy. It was probably a 1 minute trade in and out, and this was a great setup. So if you missed it, we still have to make a new high, right? Although this uptrend is still in play, well, both of them, we still need the bigger one, right? Because the bigger one takes precedence to make a new high. So if you missed it, you can look for a long opportunity here. So let me actually get rid of this because it's going to confuse you guys with the other line. So counting from this new high, we have a new high, first entry long. We pulled back. We made a new low for this small downtrend, and it also looks visually, right, like two legs down. So this is a great indicator that the bear channel played out and we can continue looking to go long. Now we have a second entry long here, but the only issue is it formed below EMA. If we had more confirmations, like maybe a small support or like a triple test, maybe you can consider taking it. But when it's just only one confirmation, I would suggest waiting or recommend waiting for a price to push above EMA and waiting for a higher low. We actually did have a higher low here. Issue is we didn't even touch the EMA. The body's far from the EMA, and it is a bit of a doji. If it did come closer and we ended up touching the EMA, it definitely is a setup that you can consider taking, but we ended up pushing and making a new high. So now the uptrend played out, right? We had a break and we had a new high for this uptrend. So once that happens, we can anticipate a couple things to happen. We can either have a continuation of the trend, we can have a reversal, or we can have a consolidation. Usually consolidation forms when price is in the middle of EMA and it's having some range-like motion where it would have like a resistance and a support. At first I did draw it. I usually always do when a big channel or a big trend has a break and a new extreme. I like to draw a small range, but as you can see, we quickly reversed, right? And we broke this resistance, which was a support. We sliced right through it. So this is an indicator that the bulls got their high, and now we have to wait for the next market phase. So this was a pretty easy trend to draw, especially for beginners. It aligns with the EMA, sharp push down. We didn't even touch the EMA. This just shows how strong the bearish presence is. So once we have this drawn, now we can start looking to play the short opportunities, right? Okay, so counting from this new low, right? Because this new low right here didn't come close to or make a lower low than the previous one. So we don't have to reset count, right? We have to draw the small uptrend. So we had a new low, first entry short, right? This is the first candle that triggered lower than the previous ones. We had a pullback. Now, this right here, we can consider a second entry short, even though it is an inside bar. I'm sure if you guys were beginners, you definitely would want to trigger higher than the previous bullish candle, but context matters, right? And because the downtrend was so strong, we didn't even touch the EMA once. The bullish correction played out, right? And EMA is holding. That's a really good sign that the bull correction played out, and now bears want to make the new low. I personally took this. I'm marking it yellow, right? Because it's definitely for beginners a little bit of something, a hiccup that they would start second guessing. But I did take this just because of how strong the EMA held, the small uptrend played out, and the big downtrend needs a new low. So over here, we ended up breaking and making a new low. Now, this is the same rules that apply for the bigger channel. Once that happens, we could anticipate for the trend to resume, to have a stronger continuation, for it to turn into a range, or reversal. But as you can see, after we had a break and a new low, price started trading lower and lower. Now, once I saw this, two things came to my mind. The first thing was, and I mentioned this earlier, that the key levels definitely play a huge role. And it could be that, the bears want to test the support. And usually that's what happens, right? So this is kind of turning range like, where we're breaking out from the resistance. And usually when that happens, it goes back and tests the support, almost like a ping pong game, right? So once I saw we started trading lower and lower, right? I thought, okay, maybe we have some type of spike in a channel pattern. So I started looking for a spike in a pattern, kind of like this. I don't know if you guys drew it similar, but it fits good. You can't really draw it like this because there's too much space, right? As you can see here, there's too much space. We're not getting any confirmations. The more confirmations, the better. So I ended up drawing it just as a spike in a channel pattern. I think I actually had it tighter just because I don't remember how I drew it earlier. No, I think I like this a little more. Yeah, it just fits better geometrically, right? So this is how I ended up drawing it. And this is a secondary pattern, secondary trend, meaning it's not fully confirmed, especially that we just had a break and a new low. And now we also we tested the resistance. Excuse me. We tested the support. I have jet lag, guys. Pardon me. Just came back from a trip. And now we tested the support, and it looks like, initially we see a very strong momentum push up. So it looks like this is kind of like a failed breakout at the support. So this is an area where you guys want to be a little bit more cautious, right? So I was just watching this. Usually when this happens, we just have to wait for more confirmations. We ended up having a break, a new high for this small bullish correction. And what I was waiting for is I want to see a reversal pattern. A lower high alone isn't enough, just because what if this new break and the failed breakout at the support was enough for the bulls to take over, right? And for this bearish correction to decline. So I was waiting for a reversal pattern. Counting from this new high, we have a new high, first entry long that failed. I was waiting for a failed second entry long at the EMA, and this would have been a great triple test. We never had it, and we started going a bit sideways. So once I saw this, EMA starting to get stacked, this was an indicator that, okay, maybe we're transitioning into a range, right? And that this was enough for the bears to get a new low as well as a test of the support. So I ended up deleting this channel and I just adapted to this range. So once we're in a range, and I wrote this out for you guys if you don't understand about how ranges work, you want to buy low and you want to sell high, and you want to make sure the small corrections within play out. Now, whenever you see price in the middle, overlapping candles, no strong price action, you don't want to take anything in the middle. You want to wait for price to reach either the resistance or the support, and either wait for a failed breakout or a stronger reaction, right? Like maybe a strong trend forming. So as you can see, we're ignoring all of this, and we finally push higher, right? We test the resistance, and what do we have? We have a failed breakout, right? And let me put this here. We have a failed breakout. Bulls tried breaking out and they failed instantly, and price sliced through the EMA. And if you zoom out, right, we also have two legs up, right? So this alone cancels out any idea, right? Or any plans that, okay, we're going to go longer, maybe we're going to have a wider uptrend, because it's too broad, right? You can't draw an uptrend like this. So two legs up, failed breakout at the resistance, strong push below EMA. What do we expect now? Well, we expect this downtrend that I just drew, the new one, to test the support and also to have a new low. So now, counting from this new low, we have a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short, right? This triggered below it. And this is actually a double trap. Let's just write DT. Over here, we have double trap, right? This is a super high probability setup, right? The only issue we have with this is this candle, right? We have a green body. You know, if it closed more bearish, if it was a red close, maybe close a little bit closer to the wick, this definitely would have been a high probability setup. If you took it, I understand why. We're just gonna label it yellow in the middle. It's not the best, it's not the worst, but like I said, if we had a bit of a better close, I definitely would have taken it. And then we ended up pushing lower and making a new low for this downtrend, right? So we had a break, new low, another failed breakout from the support. So what do we expect now? Well, we expect prices to test the resistance. We're going to just play this ping pong game in the middle of this range. Now, counting from this new low, you are able to take a higher low alone once we push above EMA. But as you can see, we had it over here. But the only issue is it formed a bit too late. You want to catch it initially with the momentum, right? But over here, we're kind of trading it after, a small bearish correction, some broad price action. It's a little too late. If it formed right around here, right after the initial EMA reclaim, it definitely would have been a high probability setup. If you took it, it still worked, right? But I definitely would have liked it more if we formed a little bit around, like, let's say here, where I put my arrow in this area, right? So then we ended up breaking and making a new high for this small uptrend. And now what do we expect? We expect prices to test the support, right? Now, I had, and always draw the small corrections. I had this downtrend drawn like this, and we do have over here a lower high, right? We have a lower high, but the only issue I have with this is after this downtrend pushed down, we kind of went sideways. And now if you enter here, it may be a little too late, just because what if this broad price action in this candle formation is going to be the new low for this downtrend? It's not part of this one leg. You want the lower highs to be part of the one leg, because now we're too close. We don't have enough room. If we enter here at 541 and the new low is 540, it's only 1 point. You're going to get stopped, you know, instantly. We want room. Kind of like here, all of these candles are within the one leg, right? So you can take a higher low here. Here, we went lower, then we went sideways price action, and then this form. So this could have been the break and the new low, right, for this small downtrend. So although we are expecting it to touch the support, you also have to respect the shortened channel. So this is a no-go. I wouldn't even label it. And then as you can see, you would have got stopped out here and price started going sideways a bit, right? We did touch the support, but price started going sideways for almost, I would say, maybe 30 minutes. So once you see this happen, there isn't really any strong trends in play. Like, as you can see, nothing's really playing out. No good setups here. This is a second entry long, but it formed right at the resistance. It's too high. We don't have room to scalp. We ended up touching the support again. We pushed up. kind of going sideways, not a lot of, strong price action. So when this usually happens, what I usually wait for is I want to see price break out of either the resistance or the support. We get a strong rejection and with momentum, and then that's when we can resume looking for trades. Because as you can see here, there's not really any setup. The trends aren't strong, overlapping candles. So wait for the failed breakout, and that's exactly what happened here, right? Finally, same story we had here. Usually, when you have a failed breakout, those are often the best setups. They have the strongest momentum. We had a failed breakout here, and what we're waiting for now is either a lower high or a failed second entry long at the EMA, right? So if you guys initially had the trend drawn like this stronger downtrend takes more precedence, right? It's a lot bigger than this leg, so we're gonna delete this and we're gonna adapt to this leg right here. Now, I was waiting for a lower high setup. We didn't have any, a little bit of congestion, not too bad. And counting from this new high, we have a new high, first entry long, that failed. Then we pulled back and we had a second entry, a failed second entry long here. Now, and we had a couple of these today, which were a bit annoying. We're not really at the EMA, but this was such a strong failed breakout. We're not really near the support. We have some room to scalp. Such strong momentum. This setup isn't really even steep because we had some bullish candles in between. I personally didn't take it, but if you did, we can even mark it green because of how it's set up, right? Um, Although we want the failed second entry long or even the higher lows, we want them touching the EMA. It's just better. The reason being is sometimes, um, the buyers want to test the EMA a little further before the price gets rejected. So usually we just want to see a stronger confirmation, which is a touch of the EMA with a rejection. So we ended up pushing lower and we made a new low for this downtrend. And at this point right here, it's about 30 minutes before the market close, which is usually the time where, or cutoff time where you shouldn't be trading. And that was it for today. A little slow price action, but there was definitely setups. I had two, clean trades. If you definitely took this one, it's more than enough for you to call it for the day. A nice scalp. How many points is this one? About 10 points. The other good setup was this one here. I know beginners definitely were a little confused, but this is definitely um, a good setup, especially with all the confirmations. The more confirmations you have, the better. And then over here, just kind of went a little sideways, some trading range price action, which after a while, you kind of start understanding where to trade. Like you wouldn't trade in this area. And if you're new and you're a little confused, wait for the failed breakouts because that's where the momentum happens and you can catch the corrections at the momentum to catch the new extremes for the trends. And that is it for today, guys. So I'll see you in the next video. Safe trading.